Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I see I've got a couple in with us. You all right, Type Marker? Thanks for your question. I've answered it, but just to let you know, for me, flow rate on my flow controller, me personally, I like to have it at 40 psi. I used to have it at 35. Before that, I had it at 30. Excuse me. But yeah, I prefer it at 40 for me. It just gives me a bit of extra water, so my rinsing's a little bit quicker. But I find as well that when you're cleaning, say, stubborn bird poo or other things like egg sacs, I don't feel I'm wasting too much water, because these things sometimes take a lot longer than what you want to. One thing I'd like to do is upgrade my kit eventually to the version 16 flow controller, and I'd like to have a wireless link one, so you can have something around your neck and you can press a button, so you can have presets, so you can have a set speed for when you're cleaning, and I could say press another button which will then change the flow controller PSI levels at a touch of a button, so you'd have a faster flow rate just for rinsing. And I think they will be ideal, but like most things, it's wait until you get the money together so you can do it, and then probably once you've got the money, something goes wrong with your van and that's where it ends up going. Anyway, hope everyone's had a good week. Mine's not been too bad today, though. It's been a tough day, but it's been good. I've had myself, obviously my son and my daughter Matthew and Sophie, they're working with me, but also my wife Teresa, she's been working with me today. What we've had to do is we've cancelled a day's work, but then backfilled it with a backlog we've had building up of gutter clears, fascia soffits and gutters, for example. Because I'm that busy with the windows, I can't really book these jobs in. So what we do is we try and clear a day and then bung a load on there together to make it worthwhile, especially when you make more than what you would do window cleaning, because you can't factor all that in. So that's what we've done. No dramas, Type Marker. Yeah, everyone does vary. I think it does depend on if you've got a new pump, then it's going to perform better. You probably just then have it a bit less. But as the pump gets older and sort of like a bit of worn out sort of thing, you probably find you have to up the flow. But yeah, I have it set at 40. I don't go higher than that. Well, kind of. I do go higher than 40, but that depends what I'm doing. If I'm cleaning a conservatory roof, for example, I put it straight to 60 straight away, because I want more flow rate to get all the stuff off the roof. The flatter the roof, the higher you want the flow rate to be, so you've got more flow of water going off. And then the steeper the angle of the roof, you could probably lower your flow rate as well if you want to be economical with your water. I'll just go by eye, really. Some windows, as you know, the water flows down because it's hydrophilic rather than hydrophobic. And other windows the other way around, so you adjust your flow rate as you go. And I suppose the more you clean particular houses and you start to learn the windows on them, you already know all this stuff in your head, so you can set it before you start. But I always have mine set at 40 for general window cleaning. Yeah, so again, going through today, what have we had? We've had one window clean. Then we did a gutter clear, which was a bit difficult to get to and around the property, but it's no dramas. And then we had 3 where we're doing houses where it was a gutter clear, fascia soffits and gutters, as well as the windows as well. So yeah, I've got a Skyvac Industrial 85. That's what I use in my gutter vac. It's got the elite poles, carbon fibre poles. And when I brought them, I've got 8, so I've got a good reach on them. I not necessarily need the reach for the height. Sometimes it's just the angles I'm at over conservatories, and funny to get to extension buildings sort of thing, where I need the extra length. And then sometimes I've even had it at such a funny angle. The gooseneck's a 90-degree gooseneck on there for me to effectively get the nozzle into the gutters just to clear those funny bits. But you use what you got. Luckily I've got all that plus a generator. So yeah, you get a good system going, where you know as a team how to unpack and pack the van quickly. And while some people are setting something up, someone else is setting something else up and it all just connects, gets going quick. But today's live, what I thought of doing anyway was going through cleaning a Xline rinse bar, or how I do it. Because what a lot of people find is with these rinse bars, they can get blocked because you've got 9 holes in the one from Xline. And sometimes you get a bit of debris somehow inside there and it'll start to block up some of your holes. Or it's a bit like when you're trying to pee and you can't pee straight and they go off at funny angles. So sometimes it does your head in, you're not getting a good enough spread. So there is a way of how I clean out the rinse bar. I tend to do it as and when. I used to do it part of my weekly maintenance for when I clean my pole. But now I just tend to quickly do it in the field as I go. So I'll try and show you first what I'm on about. So obviously I use the Xline stuff, and then when you click on the tab where it says brushes, I'm not sure if it's under brush accessories. Here we go. You'll see on the right hand side next to the brushes you've got rinse bars, and then you've got them for if it's a 26cm brush or the 35. I use a 26cm one, so that's got 9 holes in it. When you get the brushes, they come with different options. On the left here, you'll see you've got the rinse and wash bar, or the rinse bar basically. And then you've got your pencil jets, and then across you've got your fan jets. So that's the 3 different types of jets, so to speak, that Xline use. And these are what the rinse bars are. So it's either going to be 9 holes or 11 holes, depending on the size of the brush. What you've got on each end is it's a hollow pipe basically with the 9 or 11 holes in it, but one end of the pipe is going to be blocked. It's got like a dark blue bit of plastic at one end and the opposite end is open. So even though the water comes in from both sides of the rinse bar, one's blocked off. Don't know why. It's something I'll have to ask James. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. So the water only goes in the bar one way really. And whether it's just to create a bit of extra pressure for the water to come through or not, I don't know. So basically, what I use is a pipe cleaner, and then I fit that in through the open end, push it as far down as I can go, and then twist and turn, pulling the pipe cleaner out, and just repeat that a few times. It's a bit of a pain though, because you have to connect the whole system back together again to check if it's clear. If it's not, disconnect it all, take it out of the brush, and so on. So what I normally do is I try and get another separate way of feeding water to the ends. I put them on the end, test it so it's not inside the brush, so to speak. And I keep doing that until I get it right, and then I put it back together. That's when I'm at home by my house. If I'm in the field, you just disconnect it, take it out of the brush, use your pipe cleaner, put it in there and keep doing it, and a few more for luck, and then give it a go. So I'll try and show you, actually. I've got one here, I've dug it out. I just don't know how it's going to come up on the camera. So here's your rinse bar. I'll try and get this to focus. So this end here, that's where it's slightly blue. I don't know if you can see it. See if I can zoom it in for you. That's the end that's blocked. And then on the opposite end, that's the open hole. So that's where the water goes in. And also that's the ends that you're going to use when you use your pipe cleaner. Let's get this to zoom back on because I start to look like I've drunk too much beer, or you have. So here's your rinse bar. There's your pipe cleaner. It's pretty easy. Got my 9 holes along here. And like I say, sometimes you'll probably have about 6 holes working. 3 of them are blocked or it's coming out at a funny angle. So I just disconnect it, remove this out of the brush, get your pipe cleaner, and then just put it in all the way in, and then all I do is twist it all the way around and then slowly take it out. Give it a quick wipe and just keep repeating that process. And like I said, if you're out sort of like in the field and work, I just overdo it to make sure I've got it done. So because I'm going to connect it back up to my brush and then get window cleaning, and then 9 times out of 10, it's good enough for me. And if I'm doing it at home, obviously I test this before just by feeding ends on the end where it's going to supply water. And then once I've got it working perfect, I get it back in my brush, put it together as part of me, or used to as part of my weekly maintenance. Now just class it as a deep maintenance. So that's a good idea. Get a pipe cleaner. You can quickly clean these out whilst you're in the field, because probably if you're like me, where we like to have our poles nice and straight with the clamps all straight, with them we would like 9 straight jets of water coming out of the rinse bar. So when things aren't working like that, does your head in, pipe cleaner, away you go. And that's basically how I do it. So there's your rinse bar, like I said. And then the different jets they use. I believe probably pencil jets I expect maybe getting phased out. I don't know, because on their website, those brushes have got a good sale on at the moment. I think it's about 15% off. So I'm guessing they're either going to thin the numbers down or maybe they're going to fade out altogether. I don't know. I've tried fan jets. Just put them in the comments or the comments below or in the chat if you prefer to use fan jets, pencil jets, or the rinse bar. I know a lot of people use pencil jets and are absolutely fine with it. I do love the rinse bar. I think it's made a difference for me in terms of I'm rinsing quicker, so I'm saving water compared to when I was using pencil jets. I started with pencil jets and they were fine. But yeah, once I've tried the rinse bar, I was like, game changer. I'm sticking with that. So yeah, that was good for me. If anyone's got any questions, again, if you could just put a Q in front and a colon, all it does is when I go into the comments, I can use a search, so it acts like a filter, and then I can get to the questions and I'll answer them. If you've got any questions as we're going along, just bung them up on the screen as we go. And if you're watching it in the replay, just do the same thing in the comments below and I'll get back to you. I've had a couple this week, actually. I've chased them up, but sometimes it's been about 6 days or so. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people who've used fan jets. They've said they're fine, just up the flow rate, but how much you up it, I suppose, is personal preference as well. I've mainly used rinse bars. I did try fan jets when I used a gardener's brush. I wanted to use their seal brush many years ago now. That was before they had the capsules, and what I didn't like about it was the jets were plastic, were breaking quite quick, even though they're easy to replace. But yeah, up the flow rate, and then the fan jets work a lot better. The only thing that puts me off really is when you have to trim the brushes when you first buy them, so that when the fan jets are coming out, the jet of water is not hitting any of the bristles. I just like basically to buy something and use it. But when I first saw the fan jets, I did think, wow, compared to pencil jets, these are just felt brilliant. But I went back to pencil jets in the end. And yeah, I love the rinse bar. So I'm probably going to stay with a rinse bar. Cheers, PB Pro. I suppose it is different. Oh, someone else. Sorry. Yeah, I was the opposite in the end, but I know a lot of people have used fan jets for a long time and they'll just stick with fan jets. They prefer them to rinse bars as well. They do make a nice sound on the glass. And I believe the good thing with fan jets as well is when you're using or rinsing a window where it's hydrophobic, it makes the rinse a lot better as well. And I suppose you have to up it quite high because you want to make sure you get the grit after the initial clean is rinsed all off the window. But yeah, it definitely does sound quite powerful. But yeah, trimming the bristles freaked out a bit at first. I suppose like anything, when you do something new, because it's new, you tend to trust the old stuff because that's where your confidence is. And just give things a chance, I suppose, to work out whether you like it or not, isn't it? And sometimes you are surprised. You've just got to give things a try, really. It's no good having something, give it a day. I suppose at least give it a couple of weeks to see what you prefer. But I noticed when I first started, which was only 5 years ago, so I haven't been doing this for decades, like, feels like it. After today, got me shoulders and that. Yeah, I used to see a lot of people using fan jets, and that's kind of what made me thought I'd give it a try. But because I wanted to try a different brush, I thought I'd hit 2 birds with 1 stone. But I love me Xline brush, and I love the rinse bar. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to stick with. But again, it's all trial and error. Oh, what's going on here? Bear with me. Sorry, technical issues. Live and learn, don't we? Kiss that button. Just lock that. Oh, okay. All right. Cheers, Mark. So he's saying he uses less water than normal, especially like obviously because you're rinsing using the fan jets. And that's what I find with the rinse bar. This is just me comparing it to pencil jets anyway. So that's good to know. Maybe one day I'll try the fan jets again, I think. The other thing is I use this seal brush mainly to clean the fascias, soffits and gutters, which is the one from Gardeners, because I'd heard a lot of people like using that because like it's banana shape, and I was wanting something that's going to get high up in that gap between the gutter and the fascias, like the back of the gutter where it joins to the fascia boards. But I needed water to jet up there as opposed to using the fan jets. But I find the brush I use for cleaning windows, which is obviously the Xline one with the rinse bar, I tend to use that for windows and for fascias, soffits and gutters. So it's an all-in-one job. Something we find really good is when you're doing the lower fascia, soffits and gutters, is having one of these muck-off brushes. They are absolutely brilliant, especially this bit here. If you've got a small ladder, or we've got a very small ladder, it's one of them ones people have in kitchens when they're too short to reach the cupboards. So you open it up, it's just got 2 steps. And we find that's enough to stand on using this brush at full stretch. This bit here flicks right onto the back of the gutter, gets to where the fascia is, where you can't get your brushes in. And they're absolutely excellent for getting into behind the clips where the brackets are. And are really good at fishing out all those spider egg sacs. So we've used that for the lower stuff. I know it might be a bit overboard, but it makes us feel a lot better that we've got the best that we can do. Obviously, we've done that quite a few times today. Plus, we're also thinking when your customer is going to look up, they're going to see the bottom bits that you can't reach unless you've got something like this, compared to the ones that are high up. I mean, you can't stick that on a pole. So you do the best you can what you got. It seems weird as well. I use the Gardener's swivel gooseneck, and I still use that for when I'm doing the fascia, soffits and gutters. So what we do is I get the gooseneck at an angle so it's vertical, and the brush sits here. But when you twist your pole round and then push the brush, the bristles here then are vertical. And then what I find is, like, if I go into the middle of the brackets, I can press in hard with my brush, push up with my poles, and that jams underneath the gutter. So it stops the swivel neck flicking around. And also because the bristles splay out, I find they go up into the little gap, the best I'm going to reach anyway, using a water-fed pole for high up fascia, soffits and gutters. Use the same technique for the bottom ones, but you find it's easy if you just squirt water up there, get off the ladder, use this, and then clean it with your brush. Use your rinse bar or whatever you're using, jets, I suppose, to get up there and rinse it all out. It's quick and effective, and we're a lot happier, and we certainly haven't had any complaints. But Yeah, that's what I like doing. And I'm definitely feeling my age. I'm having a couple of beers because I think I've earned that. Stubby's way ahead. Hope you're having some as well. And I'm not getting paid for the product placement. £3, 10 bottles, winner. But yeah, today I've felt my shoulders ache a lot. I've done a lot of the gutters using the gutter vac, and I've had quite a few bits where you've got some good tough bits of grasses in there with a proper root system. And they're the ones as well where you've got the roof tiles sticking quite over into the gutter. So even though you've managed to break a bit off and you're getting it, you can't lift it out because of the gap. There was a couple where I've just got my ladder out, ran up there, scratched some of my fingers on the concrete roof tiles, but I've got the stuff and got them out. It's good to persevere. There's things that are bugging me. I could quite easily leave it. How would a customer know? But I know, so I like to go up there and get these bits out. I would type marker. I'd love to, but it's a bit pricey. Plus, I'm just getting old. Sometimes you just can't be bothered to go in there when it's really, really busy. I'd rather go when it's a bit quieter because I'm becoming an old man. Hang on a sec. That's why when you get paid change from your customers, I keep hold of all these 50p's. Good for the pool table, so you can tell the kids to go and play pool. So you can sit there and enjoy a drink with your missus. Or when you pay for your beer, get all the change out, and your customers who may be having a pint in there will start thinking, do I owe you? And start paying up because I think you're really, really skint. You don't want to go flashing the cash too much. I think you're doing well. That's what I do anyway. Don't always work. In fact, it's quite good going in the pub because, to be honest, half the people drinking there, I clean their windows as well. So that's a good thing about a village, isn't it? But yeah, I just wondered if anyone's been struggling on how to clean because you're getting blockages with this rinse bar because it actually sits inside internally in the centre of the brush. The ones you can get from, is it like Facelift and Gardeners? They mount onto the brush, but they sit above the bristles and squirt over the top. I kind of like that idea because I believe some people say you can rinse with your brush on the glass because your brush is brushing and then above it you've got this curtain of water coming down from the rinse bar, as opposed to this where it's in the middle of the brush, so you have to rinse with the brush off the glass, or I prefer to. And I think it's Ashley McIntosh, I think, was mentioning about how with the rinse bar above the bristles, what happens is when you're trying to get your brush right into the top on the frames, it's then banging sometimes on the concrete recess above the window, so it's preventing you to get the brush where you need it. So that's another good reason, I suppose, why I like the rinse bar being internal. Did a gutter clear today. Oh, only a second one. Underpriced it, but good enough. The fella understood and paid more. That's good. Hard to know what to charge when you're starting out. Yes, mate, it is. And even though I've been doing this for 5 years, I still find quoting the hardest thing to do with window cleaning. And I think if you put all tradesmen together, whatever they do, they'll probably tell you the hardest thing is quoting. Because you're trying to be as fair as possible to the customer, so they're getting a good deal. But at the same time, you're aware you need to be fair to yourself because you don't want to be underpriced. But I wouldn't be disappointed if you'd done something underpriced. I just chalk it down to experience, and every house varies. So if you worked out what the quote should have been, for example, and then put that in another house, you'd probably find it's overpriced. You can't always win. As long as it evens out in the middle in the end, you're all right. And yeah, I find with a lot of your customers, because they watch you and they can see doing a really good job and you're just in that zone and concentrating on what you're doing, you want to do a good job, they can feel, because they're ahead of us maybe in time and in terms of life experiences. So yeah, if they tend to feel it's a bit underpriced, they will give you a bit extra as well. I find that can happen quite a lot, and it makes you feel a lot better as well. And then, if that customer becomes a regular with your windows, for example, that's the sort of person you want, really. And yeah, I shouldn't worry about it. I'm not sure, did you use a gutter vac or did you use like your ladders? I mean, it doesn't matter what I use both. And some jobs just go really, really well. Some just take ages. And I feel I've underpriced it. But I know as well, if I'd up the price, I probably wouldn't get the job because it's too high. We sort of find we talk ourselves down a lot the last few years. So this year and a bit last year, we've made sure not to talk ourselves down and to reducing the price. We just say the price is the price and we're still getting the jobs. But I do find as well, some houses you could be flying, you'll just get one little bit just in a little corner or underneath them gullies. And then that seems to make the job suddenly go in like slow motion because it's just a tough bit. I mean, I've had a couple today where in the gullies, you get a lot of the cement from the sides of the gullies where it's broken off and it's slid down. And then when you get to the bottom of the gully, there's like plastic flashing, so to speak, and it overhangs a bit into the gutter. So your nozzles from your gutter vac don't always fit in, but underneath it, it's going to be jam-packed with mud, grit, or this cement stuff. And yeah, that's when I've had to get the ladder out, go up there and use my hands to tuck in underneath there and get the stuff out and just grab it and put it in my bin, rather than messing around with the nozzle. But I only knew then because obviously once I've tried to hoover out that area, I've used my camera on the end of a water-fed pole to look in, and then it's like an inspection camera. I could see it's there, so I knew, right, rather than messing around, just ladder out, up, get it out the old-fashioned way. Yeah, don't worry, that's normal. GVS Panther, I've heard, is really, really good. Again, it's small enough probably to constantly keep in your van as well. So that's what I like about something that size. Mine's bigger. And so there's times sometimes where you put on the spot where your customers, can you quickly do this? If I had something like that there, I'd say yes. Because I haven't, I'm like, no, I have to book it in another day because of all the kit I need to throw in the back of the van. So the Panther as well, for its size, from watching Smelt, I don't know if you watched that on Monday. Yeah, Julia from GVS. And they're saying like how proud that Panther is for its size. It's really popular and always amazes people what it can do. And I think like Skyvac, Atom was probably their equivalent, but they've got something else called the Sonic. But I've just got the one I've got. One's enough. And again, something that size, like you're saying, we've had to climb up onto the extension part of a roof. It's easier to take something that size up the ladder with you rather than the big industrial sized ones, which are doable. But that is far easier, definitely. So yeah, the Panther I've heard a lot of good things about, but I've spent a lot of money on my one. Jesus, what was it? I think it's £4,500 for the gutter vac I've got. All them elite poles, 8, with all the goosenecks that come with it. I've got 3. I've got a 180 degree one, so it's just up and straight down. 130 degree one and the 90 degree one. Plus I've got 6 nozzles as well. And then I also got the generator. It's a big generator, weighs 65 kilograms. So that's a bit of an effort to push up the ramps to get it in your van. It's not too bad when you're on tarmac and concrete or drives, but it is when you're on shingle because your feet start to slip everywhere. And if I've had a curry the night before, it's going to make you fart a lot as well. What else did I get with it? Oh, and I've got the 25 meters heavy duty extension cable to run out as well. So it just means I can have the generator in one spot generally and I get around the whole house. But I love my gutter vac, absolutely love it. Yeah, that was 3 hours of my life gone, which I don't mind, but the kids and the wife downstairs wonder where I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, so it goes on for a bit. I watched half of it and I watched the other half last night, actually. But yeah, GVS come up on my radar. It was either them or Skyvac when I went for my gutter vac. I ended up going for the Skyvac one in the end. That's mainly because I'd had my eye on it for about another 2 years before I brought it. So it was like, I really want it, I'm going to get it. I did get a loan to borrow all that sort of money out, but it was a really good investment. I was using the ladders before. I've got 20 kilogram ladders. They are solid, triple extension ones, but when you start carrying them sideways down alleyways, underneath washing lines, archways, and you're guaranteed when you put it up somewhere, the angle's not on the right angle because it can't go there because there's bushes or stuff in the way like that. So you always have it a bit dodgy angle. It's why I went for the gutter vac, because I pull my back out 3 times in a year, just muscular, but it took 2 weeks to get over it each time. And plus, when you're doing all the other stuff with the water-fed poles and that, I just thought something's got to change. So I borrowed a loan, got myself squared away with the gutter vac and the generator, because that was on my wish list anyway, and so with the electric reels. I got 2 of them put in, and oh my God, that was brilliant. The electric reels, we loved them. Because when you're doing 20 cleans a day, you got to think you're reeling it out, reeling it in 20 times. When you're doing it manually by hand as well, it's hard to reel that in over long distances, or when there's long, heavy grass. You've got corners, weedy bins. Electric reel, yeah, just press a button. It's brilliant. And plus, what you found is I had the reels where you had to drop them on the floor, and then you can reel them in, and then you're picking it up and lifting it into the van. So it took away that lifting. You never do manual handling correctly because you're always in a rush. So you slightly stood wrong, you know it, and then that's it, your back goes, especially when you swing around big ladders. So yeah, gutter vac, I absolutely love it. But it's still, you still need ladders if you've got a gutter vac. There are times you just got to think ladder out, like I did today a few times, and just get up there. At the end of the day, you want to do the job as quick as you can, because there's always going to be bits that hold you up. And then it's them bits, I suppose, that make you feel like it's underpriced. But you never know. You might not have got that job if you hadn't have underpriced it a bit. And then it came good anyway because the guy give you a bit extra because he can see you slogging it out, doing a good job. Some people could have just took shortcuts, you know, to make them feel like they've got a certain amount per hour. But it's a lot of money someone's paying is the way I look at it, and they're paying you to clean it. So you clean it. That's the way I look at it. Has anyone got any beers? This week I've put the cat outside and closed my bedroom door so he can't keep up clawing, trying to jump up my leg for a fuss. Bless him. He's 14 going on 15, so he's all right. Likes a lot of company now. Probably moans. He's like me, getting older. And yeah, today, it's good on the fascia soffits and gutters where they're manky, green. I love it when they're like that because you look at it and think this could take ages. But actually what I do is I don't use chemicals. I just use my brush and pure water, and I just give everything a soak. And then I go back to a section. And while I'm scrubbing that, the others are pre-soaking, and I go backwards and forwards. And I find that soaks in and it comes off quite quick as well. And it's great when it's green and you wipe it and it is white underneath rather than like grey stained stuff, because the difference is unbelievable, and they're just really happy, your customers. And doing them clips are hard, but again, that's why I like my swivel gooseneck, because I can change the angles quickly while I'm up there rather than bringing the brush up and down. I just find it makes my whole thing faster, but there are times when it's annoying because the swivel neck just keeps flying all over the place. But you just learn to do with what you've got, basically. I know a lot of people actually would not want to clean fascia soffits and gutters with a swivel neck. What you can do is tighten the swivel neck up so it doesn't move, but it's going to just become loose in the end anyway. Or you could probably get a completely different gooseneck, so it's a fixed one, and just disconnect it from your hose, connect it on, and that's your setup then for your fascia soffits and gutters, but we just use the swivel for everything. Excuse me. Oh, I needed that. I've been thinking of that since lunchtime, I think. Get to lunchtime when you've got all them like fascia soffits and gutter clears on, and you think you're kind of like at the halfway point and you got half the work done, but you know the afternoon it could only take one little thing and it knocks you back. So when it goes well, you want to capitalise on it. But yeah, we're overall glad what we've done. Again, I know a lot of people, when you're doing fascia soffits and gutters, like to use the customer's tap water to save their pure water in the van. Because everything's local to me, we find it's just easier just to use the pure water in the van, because we can have 2 people working at one time while someone's cleaning the gutters. Because I work with Matthew and Sophie, my son and my daughter, and my wife Teresa today. So we had the gardener's backpacks out as well. So we can have quite a few people doing multiple things at the same time. The only thing is, if you're clearing out gutters and someone's done the fascia soffits and gutters, I always tell them I may flick some stuff out of the gutter depending how wet it is in there and all that. So they may just quickly have to go over the top to tidy up. So you just give it a once over at the end anyway, don't you, to check everything's right. But yeah, worked well. It's only a problem, I think, when you're a team, you get some little hold-ups. It's just good to have people, I suppose, when the plan goes wrong, you can think on their feet, just look around, know what needs doing, and just carry on. And you sort of like look at each other. You don't have to say anything, and you just adjust. But it takes time to get like that, I suppose. But yeah, I think we've done well for the jobs we've had for Friday, and then finished at about 6 minutes past 5 it was, with a 10-minute journey to get home. Hi, Mark. Yes, I absolutely love the Squeegee app. I've been using it for 4 and a bit years now. I think in my first year, because I wasn't really busy, and obviously things are really tight. I just used the calendars that comes on the Apple phone, and I did everything in there. But when I saw what Squeegee did, and I had them not long after they first started as well, so they're really reasonable priced. But then as I started to get more and more customers, I then upped the subscription for Squeegee as well. And now, because I've used it for so long, I wouldn't use anything else and I'd be lost. I've forgotten the subscription one now, but it's definitely worth it. I'm paying nearly £300 for a year, which, when you think to people, if you do the maths, that's under £1 a day for what it can do. I know you pay for your text and stuff, but that's because of Apple, I believe, because they were free for a while. It's totally great, Squeegee app. I mean, it's on my phone all the time. The customers come out, speak to them, and if they say to me, "Oh, Rob, when's your next clean due?" I just whack the phone out and I can tell them straight away, because it's on the customer profile page. And it's good for keeping track of all the cleans you've done, cleans you haven't done, ones you've missed, so you know you need to catch up on them. Definitely good for payments. I've got it so it reconciles with my bank. So when I get in at night, I do my invoices, I go catch up on payments, and then I use Xero as well for my bookkeeping. But I use Squeegee to run everything off, and it just keeps things organised, really, that I otherwise definitely would mess up on. Yeah, absolutely love Squeegee. I know people on about Cleaner Planner. I've forgotten what the other one was. And then you've got Get Soapy, but now I'm a Squeegee man, definitely. Because I got used to it, I wouldn't use anything else, and I'm happy with it, really happy with it. Plus the guys there, if there's a problem, you can send an email. And if you happen to be not working, and you can ring them up, they get back to you quite quickly if there's any problems or any bugs, and they sort stuff out. I love it, especially when, say, you get rained off on a day. Just shift the whole schedule one day, it's all done for you. That's it. Yeah, we love the Squeegee. And I like the fact as well that you can send your messages out, just click one button. And if you had 20 customers, say tomorrow, it'll send 20 messages out through the click of one button. I mean, how good's that? And I use it to keep track of everything. Absolutely love Squeegee. I have thought about doing something on one of my lives with Squeegee, but the problem is if I start showing the pages, it's got all my customer details. So it's hard. If I had a dummy one or something like that, I'd probably do it. But yes, Squeegee is the way ahead. Absolutely is. Yeah, that's exactly how I was doing it, using the calendar, and it worked. But as I started to get more busier, I just found the Squeegee app. I tried it and I love it. And the one I pay for is £300. I think it works out in a year. And I don't know how much the one below it is, but I would get one and then build up as you go along rather than going for the one that's all singing, all dancing. But I wanted something where I could reconcile with my bank. And I use Squeegee to keep track of who's up to date, who's paid me, who's not. And you can just go to who's owing, click on a button, and then it'll have everyone that owes you money. And you can just press another button and ping, sends all the reminders out to everyone in a oneer. So that's why every day I reconcile, go through all my payments. So if I need to chase stuff up, I can just press a button and it's done. So I always have it as up to date as possible. But I would definitely use Squeegee. I think they've got a free trial anyway. And I think they used to even have a free, I think, is it up to 50 customers? I can't remember. And then after that, you start paying and then build up. Just basically look at the features you want it for. The other feature I mainly went for as well when I upgraded the subscription was when it's got that two-way text messaging. Because obviously I've got a phone, my wife has a phone, and then my Matthew and Sophie, my son and daughter, have a phone and they use my Squeegee account. Because if they go off somewhere, they want to see what they're doing tomorrow, they can look and don't have to keep asking me questions. My wife does a lot of the admin while I'm just working or organising quotes, all that sort of thing. And that's the other thing Squeegee is good for, is you keep a record of all your quotes on there. So I could walk around with the customer if I'm at the house, for example. We did one today. Someone come out, saw what we're doing, asked us to give them a quote. So when I was packing up, my wife went round, done the quote with one of my kids, and they're walking around talking about, what we can do or what the customer would like, whilst one's measuring, we're pricing it up, getting it written down the quote while we're talking. And at the end, I basically just pressed the button send and he got it onto his phone. So it's got the full breakdown of everything he was asking for, so he can pick and choose what he would like or not like. If it's too pricey for the whole thing, that's what we always say. And because he's got the quote, he can accept or decline on it, and we get told whether he's accepted it or declined it. And if it's accepted, we then book it in and come back with a date for him. And then it's all organised in Squeegee. So yeah, I love Squeegee. It does everything. It's improved my workflow. We're a lot quicker. I'm not writing things down on bits of paper anymore and forgetting where I've put them. Yeah, because you've said you've not long started, haven't you? Yeah, I'll just get by actually with what you've got, but you will find a point where you'll want something better than what your current method is. I mean, if it works, it works. Why break it? But then you probably need something else. So I'd keep one eye on Squeegee, look at how much it is and the different subscriptions there. So you get the one you need, so you're not paying for something you don't really need, because that is a lot of money. That's a problem when you're starting. You're getting money coming in, but when you start paying for this and paying for that, there's a lot of bills going out. And if we can lower the bills going out, it obviously helps your profit a bit more, doesn't it? Sometimes I wish I had a new van, the amount of things gone wrong on that. Like I said, I've had a new engine put in. Before that, I had an engine rebuild. Been in some tight spots when you think about it. But you've got to go down fighting, haven't you? I suppose that's where most people would give up, but there's something about it. You just go for broke, don't you? And then you look back a year later and glad you did that, because otherwise that'd be you had made a bad decision, innit? No problems, mate. You just try and keep your finger on the pulse of things, don't you, really? And then try different things. It's all trial and error. It's interesting to know what everyone else uses or how they do stuff, because you can take bits out of it that apply to you and what other people are saying and come up with something completely different, and then just tweak and twist things around. That's the thing. You just keep an eye on everything, don't you? You never really switch off. You're always thinking of ideas. That's what I always try and say to my son a lot, is you've got to learn how to think on your feet, especially when you've got a problem. Half the time I go somewhere to a house, I walk around, I haven't really got a clue. I tell the kids we've got a plan, but by the time I start, the plan's changed in my head. But you just seem to know what works and what doesn't, and you only get that through experience. That's one thing I always noticed when I was in the military. You'd look at some lads completely fit, and you look at some of the older lads, maybe not so fit. However, the experience they've got. I've always said you can never beat experience. There's only one way you're going to get it. That's why if you're starting soon, I took on every single shitey job going, where I know most people would run away, because I knew I was going to learn a lot from it. And if that was the only job in that day, there was no real pressure to get it done as soon as possible, because other things are going to miss out. And then looking on YouTube, trying different things. Yeah. I mean, again, on one of the cleans we've done today, I don't know if you know them little sponge pads people use to put inside cups. So you've got a sponge pad and then a little green scouring pad on the top. You could buy like a pack of 10 used to get for 40p. It probably ain't that now. I've got loads of them because I used to always buy them. But they're really good for getting the windowsills. So when you're cleaning them, you know, when they're kind of like grey, you need a bit of water on there. One of these green scouring pads, and it gets it nice and white as well. And they're pretty tough, so one of them would last a whole house. And then use your walnut pad in your pocket, just when you're doing your normal window cleans, to make that last longer. And all it is, a bit of elbow grease, bit of time. You haven't spent tons of money. But when the customer looks and they've got a brilliantly white looking windowsill from what it was before, it just gives it that little bit extra pang. And then once you've got it clean, it's just maintaining it, really, isn't it? So yeah, little things like that you'll pick up. It's all through experience, and you'll find what works. It's like me, I went a bit crazy on the old pink stuff. I've probably got about another 15 tubs of it as well. I all brought it when it's like £1 a tub. It's probably a lot more than that now. But I don't use it anymore. I prefer the younger rub out. I love that. Yeah, that's great, just keeping things tip top. Probably running out of things to say now, and I'm aware time's ticking on. I've now got a pint of that beer. They're just 2 stubbies in one. I'm not working tomorrow, but Sunday, when I normally clean my van out, I've got to unload it, so I'm going to have to get the gutter vac off, all the gutter equipment, my generator, clean all that lot out, put that away, clean my van, clean the poles, get everything squared away for Monday, really. I like a nice clean van, because that's your office at the end of the day. Yeah. Whenever we use the gutter vac at the end, I always get a bucket of water, suck a bucket of water through the whole gutter vac. Normally I've emptied it first, so I'm not mixing the rubbish in there by adding more water. And then I put the head back on, suck the water through it, so it keeps all the hoses, the pipes clean, because they do clog up like clogged arteries when it's sort of like sludge. Because we had all that rain last night, I knew there's going to be sludge in the gutters. And just keep doing that, and it keeps it working fine, actually. It's done well today. And the poles get a bit heavy as they fill up as well. Hi, Ched. No bothers, mate. Obviously, you can watch it in the replay anyway. is I'm afraid I'm not on long. I'll probably go soon because I'm probably blabbering. Unless anyone's got anything they want to ask or say. I was basically, Ched, just talking about the rinse bars and how you can clean them using something like this, a pipe cleaner. But I've been waffling as well. Right, I'll call it a night anyway, fellas. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for your questions as well and your comments. Enjoyed last week as well. Really good. No worries, Ched. And I've been watching Peaky Blinders again with me younger son. So I've been enjoying watching that. I'll probably watch another one tonight, I suppose. Anyway, hope you all have a good weekend. Take care, everyone.